For Dave Villwalk, pilot of the Miss Budweiser, Evansville, Indiana may seem like a dreamland.
Dave Villwalk has got to be smiling ear to ear inside that helmet.
Dave Villwalk heading for the checkered flag, and he will take it in Miss Budweiser. He is the winner. Miss Budweiser, Dave Villwalk, champion of Thunder on the Ohio.
And Dave Villwalk is your winner. Villwalk, Miss Budweiser, owned by Bernie Little, win the Budweiser Thunder on the Ohio.
4 victories in a row, and today in the newly christened Turbine 6, Villwalk will be looking to make it 5 in a row. We're at the Budweiser Thunder on the Ohio, atop the Ohio River in Evansville, Indiana. Hi again, everybody. I'm TJ Reeves. Great to have you with us here in Evansville, Indiana, the heartland of America for Race 2 of the Unlimited Hydroplane Racing season. Steve Montgomery, our race analyst, is alongside. And, Steve, we're looking forward to a big weekend.
Entirely different conditions than the desert scene we had last time, TJ. Out at Havasu, very rough water and a big open lake. Here you have the fastest 2-mile circuit on the race course. Always great conditions. The drivers love it, and so do all these fans.
As we talk now, we've already completed 2 sets of heats at this point. The usual suspects, Dave Villwalk in the Miss Budweiser, Mark Tate in the Freddy's Club, Mark Weber in the York Heating and Air, also Greg Hopp in the newly named Miss Zenetics, have all done very well. But let's talk about some of the guys that are battling in these upcoming heats, just trying to get into the final.
Just 1 qualifying heat left, 10 boats in the pits. Only 6 are in that all-important front row of the final. Some turbine teams on the outside looking in right now include Jimmy King in the Lumar window film, Ken Muscatel in our new world record holder for the measured mile, 205.4 miles per hour. Doesn't have enough points right now to make the final. He's going to have a good third heat. And so is Charlie Wiggins if he gets back. He ran into some bad luck after a great start to his first weekend in Unlimited, Miss Madison. We'll have more on that.
Let's go back and take a look at how things began with qualifying on a very fast 2-mile track. And a brand new boat, a brand new sponsor for Greg Hopp, the Zenetics, qualified number 7, Steve Montgomery.
Certainly not the 7th fastest boat here. They will race better than they qualified, TJ.
Dave Villwalk, his brand new ride, the Miss Budweiser T6. It was number 1, no surprise in qualifying.
Charlie Wiggins out of Gadsden, Alabama, certainly not a new name to us. We've watched him drive and win in the Unlimited Lights class. But, Charlie, you're moving into the big boat. The Madison team has appointed you the driver of Miss Madison, a boat with a lot of history. Got to be a pretty exciting day for you.
Yeah, it's real exciting. You know, just a dream come true from a little kid, driving those smaller boats and coming up through the ranks, and just always wanted to get here, and finally a dream come true.
You've moved up in class before, which is really what you're doing now, but this is a big step, and it's the ultimate. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's a big step, both you know, in speed and size as well. A lot of things to get used to and learn about the boat, and looking forward to getting it and turning a few laps today.
Charlie Wiggins would end up qualifying 6th, his first time out in an Unlimited Hydro qualifying attempt. Not a bad effort.
Good job, bud. Thanks, man.
Well, does it feel 3 times as big as what you're used to?
It feels pretty big, but boy, it's a rocket.
Take a look at qualifying. Miss Budweiser obviously doing very well, but the Freddy's Club, York Heating and Air, and also the Jones Racing Boat, WABX, also doing well.
Mike Hansen really bringing that boat along. Several of the teams on the bottom of the ladder here capable of making the 6-boat final if they have a good day in the preliminaries.
Heat 1A here in Evansville, and for Greg Hopp, a brand new sponsor on his new boat, Miss Zenetics. And for this new boat, the real question would be, how would it do against Dave Villwalk's new ride, the T6 Miss Budweiser? Would he be able to give him a challenge? Let's find out. See the beginnings here of this opening heat. Dave Villwalk on the inside lane, and that a newly named Zenetics boat. It's the former Miss Pico. We're going to refer to that a lot. A lot of people know that name, but Zenetics now the new sponsor, and a new boat here. A new boat also for Dave Villwalk, so everybody getting a chance at qualifying here in this first heat to check things out. And from the O'Doul's Eye in the Sky, immediately on the opening lap, once again, Miss Budweiser jumping out to the early lead, Steve, in impressive fashion much the same way that we saw last time out in Arizona.
And we saw Greg Hopp and the Zenetics well back at the start. Mark Webber making a good start, actually, and the York Heating and Air had a better shot at Budweiser here than Greg Hopp did. But neither would challenge. It would be all Budweiser. Dave Villwock once again making a perfect start.
Got the impression, though, from watching towards the end of this race that Greg Hopp maybe held a little something back. He was able to come up on the Miss Budweiser, but as you see, Miss Bud wins there in Heat 1A. Zenetics finishing second. Miss Madison with Charlie Wiggins at the helm in third. After a strong finish in Lake Havasu, the Freddy's Club was running well as it came to Evansville, a second-place qualifying finish, and a big break. No Miss Budweiser in their opening heat. But after all, this is unlimited hydroplane racing. Anything can happen, and it usually does. Let's find out what did. In Heat 1B, the commissioner, Dr. Ken Muscatel, on the inside. There's Mark Tate in lane 2, and you see the rest of the lineup, including Mike Hansen there in that Jones Racing boat as things got underway.
Great start by Mike Hansen in the white boat. Now, second from right, that is the Freddy's Club, and you see it go through a rooster tail. So the boat that we thought would probably be the favorite here wiped out early. From there on, it was all Mike Hansen doing a great job in the white boat, the U9, sponsored by the local radio station, WABX.
A little bit of a surprise, but Mike Hansen is able to come up with his first heat win of the season. There you see Mark Tate in the Freddy's Club ride. Unfortunately for them, they could do no better than fourth. George Stratton finishes second in the Appian Geronimo. Dr. Ken Muscatel in the Miss Free Eye was third, and Master Tire in fifth. Mark, what happened there in turn 1?
Well, I don't know. When I got down there, you know, there really wasn't a lot of room. The buoys were way out of place, and I blame it mostly on the race course and the buoy condition, because the buoy's so far out. When you ran in there, I had nowhere to go. The lane had closed down going to the straightaway before I even got to the corner. So I was late at the start, too, which was not a good thing.
Michael, a great start. Tate got in trouble, and it was all you.
Yeah, it was great. This is only our second heat into this boat, and looks like the marriage is working out pretty good for us.
The old white boat really does look good. It has all weekend.
Yeah, this is basically a brand new boat. We took the old sponsors off the old two-wing that Jones had and built a new boat around it. And, man, it's easy to drive compared to what I've been used to the last couple of years. So, got to thank WABX, our sponsor out here. They made it possible, and I told them we'd rock and roll, and here we are.
Just like bottles of Budweiser beer, a born-on date for the brand-new T6 that the Miss Budweiser team is displaying for the first time here in Evansville, and Dave Villwock had already captained it to a win in Heat 1A. Could he do it again in 2A? Let's find out. Heat 2A, Miss Budweiser, perfect so far on the year. Heats, finals, you name it, and they have the inside lane here in Evansville to start this second heat.
You know, the Budweiser team certainly has the equipment, TJ, but the other drivers could at least stick their nose up there and make a great start. Villwock's starts are absolutely perfect, and that's all Villwock. That's nothing to do with the equipment. Here you see Greg Hopp once again giving chase, and you're not going to catch this guy and get around him.
Well, it's interesting, too. We're going to talk some about the new fuel restriction rules after you've won races, but you can see that early on here, you look on board with Miss Budweiser at what he's looking at. Nothing but open space between him as he looks like he's pulling away here again to open things up. You see Dave Villwock increasing that lead, but again, Greg Hopp lurking there behind the Miss Zenetics.
It did look here like the Zenetics boat had boat speed to maybe compete with the Bud if he could get the inside. But as long as they let Villwock have lane 1, you're going to have 400 points scored by the red boat, just as he did right here.
2 for 2 for the Miss Budweiser team in Evansville, Indiana. And you take a look at the updated points there after 2 heats for Miss Budweiser.
It does not look like you're wishing you had your old boat.
T6 is running great. The guys are doing a great job with it. Mark made another adjustment. Probably ran a little better that heat than the other heat, but we're really happy.
It's okay in the rough water, too.
Yeah, it is. We're actually, the faster you run, the better it is.
Bernie likes it so far.
Well, I like it a lot. Yeah, that's right. Looking good, looking good. Well,
after a disappointing finish in Heat 1B, Mark Tate needed a good showing in this race, and his stiffest competition would come from this boat, Mark Webber's York Heating and Air. And his teammate George Stratton, they would both display some great teamwork, getting the first 2 lanes on the inside in this start. So would Tate be able to overtake him, or would this York boat come alive? Let's find out. There you see the inside 2 lanes here as the boats are milling about, being occupied by the USA Racing partners. the York Heating and Air, and the Appian Geronimo. And this is good strategy. I mean, this is why you have teammates.
This is before the start, and it is true. If you have one boat jockeying like that for the inside, it's one thing. But when there are two guys side by side, you see Mark Tate in the middle of the field in the Freddy's Club. Best he can do is lane 3, and he's going to have a tough time getting around these teammates now.
Mark Webber, a winner last time out in Arizona in Heat 3A. On the inside here as things begin in Heat 2B in Evansville. And from the O'Doul's eye in the sky, you can see him start to pull away in that opening turn there, Steve.
And the Freddy's Club is the 4th place boat going into the first turn. That's a surprise based on the way that boat qualified. We thought he'd have his nose right up there with this guy, Mark Webber, in the York Heating and Air.
Mark Webber would go on to the win in Heat 2B. Meanwhile, progress made by Mark Tate and also the WABX Jones racing boat. Miss Madison would cross the finish line and would have problems. We'll have more details on that coming up in just a second. But right now, Steve Montgomery in the pits with the winner in Heat 2B.
Was there a little teamwork during the milling period?
Nah, George and I wouldn't do that.
Simple enough, judge for yourself, but there is the Miss Madison and problems for Charlie Wiggins, Steve.
The boat crossed the finish line. The strobe light indicating the driver was okay did not come on because he wasn't. Removed by Eric Steelau and the Simrad rescue crew, taken to the hospital. And when the boat finally came out of the water, we saw the problem. Damage to the escape hatch. It was hydraulic pressure that injured the driver.
Welcome back to Evansville, Indiana, the Budweiser Thunder on the Ohio. This view is courtesy of the Bud One Airship. Budweiser, proud sponsor of the Unlimited Hydroplane Racing Association. Guaranteed fresh with our exclusive Born on Dating, the day your Budweiser was born. Take a look at the overhead view from that Bud One Airship of the commissioner's boat. Dr. Ken Muscatel, interesting individual who not only runs the league but competes in the circuit. Day in and day out, it can be a little difficult, as our own Steve Montgomery had a chance to sit down with the good doctor in this week's Hydro Spec.
Ken Muscatel, psychologist, race team owner, driver, commissioner, movie actor, newlywed. Have you been busy?
I've been nothing but busy. It's been a wonderful time. It's been way too much, and you know, I'm starting to age in dog years.
Just a couple of weeks ago on Lake Washington in Seattle, Russ Wicks in the seat of Ken's Miss Free Eyes set a new world water speed record for a propeller-driven boat at 205.494 miles per hour.
When we finally broke the mile record, we ran that first lake 207. That was 17.36 seconds, I believe. That's a long time to be going that fast. He entered the traps at 190, left the traps at over 220.
It was definitely the ride of my life. It honestly went by very quickly. We were fortunate with good water, and we did the proper testing, you know, kind of worked our way up to speed, and we knew what we needed to do, and we just, you know, everything went our way that day.
I really like working with Russ. My hope is we can get him a few laps here in Evansville to get him going around a circle and get a little sense of what it's like to run a boat and have to turn left real hard.
On board with Russ Wicks in the Miss Free Eye. He did get in a couple of laps this weekend and a couple of chances to turn that boat left, a more difficult task than the world speed record, which he was going in a straight line for. Russ is making the move to the driver's seat. It's not the only transition that is currently taking place in the sport of hydroplane racing.
Sports in transition, I can tell you that for a fact. And it's not because of just what goes on in hydroplane racing, but what goes on in sports entertainment. Ultimately, you have to become a sports entertainment company and from a club racer background. And it's a painful and difficult transition, but one which we've put the pieces in place to do, and I think we're on our way.
Take a look at the Miss Free Eye, setting that world speed record. Everybody a buzz about that in Evansville, Indiana.
It was quite a job, TJ, to get that boat set up to run in the straightaways. Now they're trying to get it set up to turn again, so they have had some struggles. This boat's coming along, the Appian Geronimo. And this is that milling period we talk about, TJ. A very important part of every race is what goes on in the minute or two right before the start.
Everybody trying to time that start just correctly. The Miss Genetics boat has been very fast. How fast will it be in Heat 3A? Find out in a moment. Welcome back to Evansville, Indiana. The Budweiser Unlimited Hydroplane Racing season coming to Budweiser's Thunder on the Ohio in Evansville. The air show high above the Ohio River, all part of the weekend, Steve.
Lane 1 will be occupied by Greg Hoff after that milling we talked about. He has a good draw here. We see George Stratton next to him in the Appian Geronimo, then the Doctor and Miss Free Eye. And on the outside, young Jimmy King in the Lumar window film. A lot of speed there on the outside, but Greg Hoff, if he can't win from this position in lane 1 with this kind of a lead at the start, we will have a story, TJ. This should be all Zenetics. We'll see how it goes now as they thunder into the first turn.
From the O'Doul's eye in the sky, you see Greg Hopp off to that perfectly timed start. There is an art form to that, has gotten off to the large lead here in this heat. You take a look as they come around and battle for second place. He is widening out that advantage, just as we thought. The boat appears to be a very strong boat for that Zenetics team. Now on board with Dr. Ken Muscatel.
Look out the front window of his boat up to the left, and there's the rooster tail of the Zenetics, the leader. Dr. Muscatel and the two other boats are pretty much side by side back here in a race for second place. This one looks like it's going to be all Greg Hoff.
See that battle for second place taking place there on the outside. Jimmy King, who did not race in Arizona in the Lumar window film boat, making his debut, and you race on board now with him as he comes down that front straightaway.
Right now he's in second place. You can see the Zenetics when looking through the front windshield of his cockpit. Pretty good race though here as the Doctor, Ken Muscatel, and the Free Eye have a little bit of an advantage on the inside, and they're going to give Jimmy King a race for second place.
Greg Hopp, the Rookie of the Year a year ago, finished 4th in Arizona, but that boat looking very strong here in Evansville so far this weekend.
And a good race behind Greg Hoff. This is Ken Muscatel looking to his right, just getting a glimpse in his mirror of Jimmy King, who for the moment at least is back in third place, but that's a good race for second and third behind our leader, Greg Hoff.
You see the Miss Zenetics boat widening out their lead. The battle there for second place. Jimmy King in the Lumar window film, Rookie of the Year in 1994. As they come down that front straightaway.
On board with Jimmy King, he has the rooster tail of the Miss Free Eye off to his left. So King now back in third in the Lumar.
See Greg Hopp as he comes down on the final lap here. The battle again is back behind him, but a boat that earlier challenged Miss Budweiser late. And look at this, the Appian Geronimo. George Stratton on board having problems here in this heat. No problems, though, for the Miss Zenetics up front.
And you got to remember the boats racing for second and third. You see them right there. The points are very important. It's 300 points for second place, 225 for third, and the 75-point difference could mean you make the final heat or not. So a lot on the line here.
And the lesson is keep battling because you never know what's going to happen up ahead of you in these heats. Witness what happened to George Stratton earlier. Meantime, back up front, Miss Zenetics widening out the lead. There's Dr. Ken Muscatel trying to hang on for second here in this heat.
Run down to the checkered flag. It flies for the Zenetics. Greg Hopp picks up 400 very valuable points, and it looks like Ken Muscatel and Miss Free Eye are going to hang on for 300. Here comes the Chartreuse and Blue boat in second place. That's about the way it looks setting in that record, TJ.
Again, Dr. Ken Muscatel piloting that boat. You take a look there at the Lumar window film boat with Jimmy King on board. You see how much those drivers get banged around again on the inside of that onboard camera. Not an easy ride here along the Ohio River in Evansville as Dr. Ken Muscatel bounces around a bit. Again, Miss Zenetics is the winner in Heat 3A with Miss Free Eye in second, the Lumar window film in third. The Appian Geronimo unable to finish, and there are your updated points for the day. Zenetics having a very strong weekend, and Steve Montgomery's down in the pits.
Greg, is it nice to look out the front and not see red?
Yeah, yeah, we didn't get them that time, so we'll chase them down in the final.
Was that a little preview of your inside lane 1 move?
Well, it was. We tried something a little bit different that time, and maybe we'll have something even different for them yet in the final.
Brand new boat, running pretty good for you.
Yeah, for right out of the box boat, it's running great.
Well, you needed a big finish here in Heat 3A, and you got it. Talk about that.
It was a great run. Jimmy was tough. And George went down right away. So we had 2-boat race, and the boats are still a handful. It's grabbing everything. So took everything I had just to get around the course. He's a great guy to race with, so we had a lot of fun. He was either going to kick my ass or I was going to kick his.
Well, George, you're trying to get a new boat going the way you wanted to and battling gremlins.
Yeah, one thing's breaking after another. We broke our fuel system in the last heat out there, and just went out right now and broke a throttle cable. I think it was going in that first heat. The throttle cable was, or the fuel tank was shutting down. I was mashing the gas pedal as hard as I could. I think I broke the cable right in half. Boy, it's tough, Steve.
That might have kept you out of the final, but we'll see you in Madison.
Well, we're going to try for a provisional or a trailer or whatever, but hope so. If not, we'll see you in Madison.
They're keeping hope down in the Appian Geronimo pit. Meantime, there is another heat to run. Heat 3B will be coming up. The driver's getting ready for that one. You talked earlier about not seeing red. We'll see some red not only from the Master Tire, but also from the Miss Budweiser when we come back to Evansville right after this. Welcome back to ESPN Speed World coverage of the Budweiser Thunder on the Ohio in Evansville, Indiana. TJ Reeves and Steve Montgomery with you.
The Zenetics team trying a brand new cowling here in Evansville. Needless to say, it didn't work very well. It's not on the boat for the race, TJ. We may see it later on. That, of course, is Mark Tate and the Freddy's Club, a very, very fast qualifier. So far, they have not raced as well as they qualified. We shall see.
Miss Budweiser also out there. There you take a look at Mark Tate, who finished second in Arizona in the opening race of the season, looking to do good things here in Heat 3B. Dave Villwock there in the Miss Budweiser. He has won this event each of the last 4 years, so he's got that familiarity with the race course. Meantime, Mark Webber in the York Heating and Air, he looks to pose a strong challenge here.
A very, very fast heat. Our three fastest qualifiers drawn together here. The start will be all important, TJ.
Budweiser with a new boat this weekend here in Evansville. For more on that, here's Steve Montgomery.
Here in Evansville, the Budweiser team has christened its latest Red Rocket. Turbine 6, T6 means it's the sixth in a series of turbine-powered Miss Budweisers. Some refinements, perhaps not obvious to the naked eye, could make it the quickest of all. A couple of weeks ago in Seattle, the team had a chance to do some testing on Lake Washington. We were there to watch the boat run and to find out from Dave Villwock what changes he has made in the latest Miss Bud.
It's an absolute piece of art, you know, that the guys put together. It's the first boat really we've put together every single piece and part in the Miss Budweiser shop. So I'm really proud of the guys in the shop that did such a great job with this race boat. You know, what we have to, you know, change and evolve as rules change and horsepower changes and all of that. And they've done a great job of that.
Taking a look at the first run in testing for the Miss Budweiser up on Lake Washington.
This boat is all your team. Nobody else is sponsons, nobody else is anything. First time really you've done that.
Yeah, that's true. We build everything on the boat, and but our crew is just unbelievable. I mean, they did it all, and their secrets are so secret, I don't know what they are.
I was going to ask you if they told you what they changed.
No. A little bit at a piece at a time, I'll figure it out.
Pretty secretive stuff when the head honcho doesn't even know what's up. On board there with Miss Budweiser. We got Heat 3B in a moment. Welcome back to our ESPN Speed World coverage of the Bud Thunder on the Ohio. You look at Bernie Little, the owner of Miss Budweiser, as Heat 3B is about to get underway. A dominant start to the season for them. Here's the lineup of Heat 3B.
Budweiser will not have the inside. Mark Webber will in the York Heating and Air, then the Bud, then Freddy's Club with Mark Tate in lane 4. Mike Hansen's been making great starts on the outside, and Mitch Evans will swing way wide in the piston-powered Master Tire.
Able to go 5 wide here on the Ohio River, and you see the York Heating and Air trying to time that start just correctly. The start has been critical. Miss Budweiser has really been able to jump out early on, and you see here at the beginning of this race from the O'Doul's Eye in the Sky, look at this. The York Heating and Air has that inside lane and has the lead.
Mark Webber made a great start. If he's going to beat Miss Budweiser, that's exactly what he has to do now. He has the lead and the inside, but here comes the Red Rocket. This is shaping up to be a great boat race, TJ. Look at the York make a little move on the Budweiser. We could have an upset here.
First time all season that the Miss Budweiser finds itself trailing one lap into a heat or a final. So we do have news here in Heat 3B, but now the Miss Bud trying to pick up some ground on the front straightaway.
Once again, great acceleration at the exit pin of that turn. Here is the Budweiser coming by the York International. Little bit of a kink in the front straight right there. It's not really a straightaway. And here, the York on the inside trying to hold off the very fast Miss Budweiser on the outside. Now, here he goes once again, TJ, when he puts the pedal down and the red boat just takes off.
A 3-lap heat. We're on lap 2 and on board with Miss Budweiser. Finally, Dave Villwock able to reclaim the lead after Mark Webber maybe surprised this Budweiser team off to such a good start on the opening lap.
One thing it's shown us, again, is that if you get the Budweiser outside of a couple of fast boats, and we have some here, you get great boat racing. Still a challenge here from the York International, but now the Budweiser appears to have opened up enough of an advantage in lane 2 to make it stick.
And I like the point you made earlier. You talk about fast boat, but you also talk about experienced driver in those turns, able to handle those turns maybe better than the other drivers, make up ground, and even widen out his lead. And you can see now a boat that was losing earlier now accelerating as we head to the final lap of this race. Dave Villwock in that Miss Budweiser down that straightaway known as the Kentucky straightaway on the Ohio River. About to win this heat, it would appear, but it has not been easy, Steve Montgomery, here at Heat 3B.
There has been a serious challenge from Mark Webber in the York International, and we talked about how important the start is. Mark made a great one. Mike Hansen, the driver of this boat, the WABX, has made several good starts today, but always way on the outside. In Mark Webber's case, his inside position and his great start managed to give the Bud boat a pretty good run here in Heat 3B.
Dave Villwock comes around the final turn, and he will win Heat 3B, but not without a tough challenge from Mark Webber in the York Heating and Air. They had to earn that one big time there in Miss Budweiser. A tough heat. Mark Webber taking second place in Heat 3B.
Freddie's Club we saw in the corner of the picture coming by, not really a factor in this race. He's going to finish back in third and perhaps pick up enough points to make the final. That'll be very important. Mike Hansen here has had a great day in the WABX.
Let's take a look at how things shaped up here in Heat 3B. The Miss Budweiser, followed by York Heating and Air, Freddie's Club, WABX, and then Master Tire bringing up the rear. And there are the updated points. Miss Budweiser perfect once again, 3 for 3. Steve Montgomery is with Mark Webber.
Well, that's called giving him your best shot and a pretty good run at him.
Yeah, well, that's what we had. You know, Dave Villwock and the Budweiser team, they're awesome, but we're creeping up on them. You know, Dave was real cool out there while we were racing. I was a little worried about Tate on the outside when Dave went ahead and pinched me on a buoy, which that's what you do in the sport. But it all worked out.
You get one more shot at him. Anything left?
You never show your whole hand to the final. You know that.
Dave, congratulations. For the first time all season, you found yourself trailing. You overcame it. You got the win. Your thoughts, and who do you think is going to be the toughest boat to beat in the final?
Well, the guys are all fast. You know, it's going to be tough for us. We get behind like that, we're going to have the race in our hands. You know, so we're just going to have to race as hard as we can, start as well as we can, and the Bud guys I know will give me a great boat in the final.
Ken Muscatel takes Miss Free Eye onto the Ohio River here in Evansville one more time than he really wanted to. He'll have to do battle with George Stratton and the Appian Geronimo just for a spot as the trailer boat in the final heat. The consolation final will be on the water when we come back.
Evansville, Indiana, the site of the latest stop on the Budweiser Unlimited Hydroplane Circuit. Bud Thunder on the Ohio. TJ Reeves, Steve Montgomery with you. The Bud 1 airship looking over a provisional heat.
The 6-boat front row has been decided. These are the 3 boats not in the final, racing for the opportunity to become the trailer boat and at least trail the field and be in the final. Mitch Evans has lane 1, then George Stratton and the Appian Geronimo on the outside. Ken Muscatel and the Miss Free Eye. He thought he was in the final. He lost some points due to a fuel violation. So he's a little disappointed, I'm sure, but has one more chance here to make the final. Now the clock ticking down as the boats approach the start line. The turbine boats look very early, TJ. I'm not sure they were legal. We'll have to look at the pictures and get back to you on that. You see the piston boat just coming across the line. He may be the only one that's legal, but it'll be a little while before we know. Meanwhile, a pretty good race out here for first place.
George Stratton and the Appian Geronimo. Again, he had trouble earlier in this event, having some problems there with the engine that he talked about. And Dr. Ken Muscatel also having problems with the fuel rules and the fuel flow. Steve, talk a little bit more about that, if you would. What was the problem? What is the problem?
Evansville is the first time that the new fuel rules have really been enforced. In Havasu, they gave them a little bit of leeway. In this event, if you flow more than 4.3 gallons per minute of fuel into your engine for more than a couple of seconds a lap, which are allowed a little bit of a grace period there, you will be penalized. And that's what happened to Dr. Ken Muscatel. That's why he's racing here and still trying to make the final heat.
This, unfortunately, is something that you don't necessarily know at the time. You only find out after the race, as the Miss Free Eye team did, so now they have to run in this provisional heat.
And they're running pretty well. Here is Mitch Evans in the master tire, and now I get word, this is our leader. The two turbine boats have jumped the gun, and Mitch Evans, you saw him motor up to the line and then decelerate. He literally sucked the two turbine boats across early. He is about 3/4 of a lap ahead of him now. He appears to be third on the water. He's actually leading, and unless something happens, he's going to be the one going into the final.
And as we keep talking about, this is the reason why you keep racing. You never know what might happen. Somebody stalls out, somebody has a problem. In this case, the Master Tire crew, Steve, keeps working hard, and they end up getting a break and now have a chance to perhaps make the final. And keep in mind, as we're on that same point, they've got to finish this race to be able to do that, but it looks good right now for the piston-powered guys.
That big World War II piston engine, the only one in the fleet. The boat is based right here in Indiana. It's very, very popular, and it's very fast. This is the fastest piston boat in the history of the sport, but they have a tremendous disadvantage in the turns. They weigh about 1,000 pounds more. And that translates into inertia, trying to rip the boat out of its turning arc, and they simply can't race with the turbines on the circuit. But unless something happens to that piston engine, he's going to win this consolation heat.
Again, going back to the start and timing things at the start, it's going to cost George Stratton and the Appian Geronimo and Dr. Ken Muscatel and the Miss Free Eye. Both of those boats were early, so even though it appears that they're in the lead, actually they are running almost a lap down to that piston-powered Master Tire boat, which is about to find its way into the final. This has got to be a great situation for them. Didn't even know if they were going to make the final race. Now it looks as though if they can hold on here around this last half a lap, they're going to be in that final coming up here in a little while.
I actually think that Mitch Evans had something to do with that. I think he got ahead of the two turbine boats, pulled them up to the line a little bit early.
Suckered them a little bit.
Then decelerated a little bit, let them go by and get there too early, and it appears to have worked very nicely. Great job by Mitch Evans, and you can hear the cheering in the background. The crowd here loves this boat, as they do all across the country. It's a throwback to the golden age, if you will, of hydroplane racing.
Master Tire comes up with the provisional heat win here in Evansville, and George Stratton, as you see, finishes second. Dr. Ken Muscatel, unfortunately, looked like he was in the final. Now it turns out that he finishes third in the provisional heat, and Mitch Evans happily will be in that final.
That's my first heat ever.
Is it true, Mitchell, that you had a plan to suck those turbine boats over the line?
That was the only chance I had, you know. I knew if they were up and running, I couldn't beat them on the outside. I thought if I drew them in there, maybe I could get them to go with me. And plan works every once in a while.
Biggest cheer we've heard all day. These fans liked it as much as you did.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's what racing's all about. There's a whole lot more to it sometimes than whether you're a turbine or a piston. So sometimes you throw a little driver education in there and it works.
How's it being back in the piston boat after a couple of years in the turbine?
Well, it's been a lot of work, but sure appreciate Ed giving me the opportunity to come back and help him out. And hopefully we can tune this thing up and really run with these guys.
Now you get to be a trailer boat. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
See preparations underway for that final heat. Those Master Tire guys are going to have to turn around quickly and get ready after having to run an extra provisional heat to get things underway. Boats are going in the water for Dr. Ken Muscatel. Disappointment.
Well, Ken, the good thing about being a newly married boat racer, you have somebody with you on a bad day and someone to carry the helmet.
That's right. It's been a good day and a bad day. We thought we were a second off the clock. I knew he was over, and then they tell me that we were over. I can't believe it. I mean, really can't believe it, because they were counting down to me over the radio from the corral, so I don't know how it's possible.
Did you ever do anything more fun than boat racing?
Never, ever. This is so much fun. It's even more fun when you win or get second or something like that.
There will be better days, Doc.
I'm counting on it.
Dave Villwalk, Miss Budweiser, attempting to keep their perfect streak alive. He's won the last 4 times in Evansville, looking to make it 5 for 5. Had some trouble, though, in Heat 3B. Will that be the case in the final? We'll find out when you come back. Welcome back to Evansville, Indiana. Budweiser Thunder on the Ohio. We're getting ready for the championship final in the Unlimited Hydroplane Racing Series, race number 2 of the season. On board with Miss Budweiser. Steve, this boat had some problems back in Heat 3B. Mark Webber in the York Heating and Air able to grab the lead on the opening lap.
There are probably 3 boats in this field, realistically, who inside of Miss Budweiser could give them a pretty good run. The Freddy's Club and Mark Tate certainly being one. This boat, Greg Hoff and the Zenetics, has shown us a lot of speed. And, of course, the aforementioned Mark Webber and the York Heating and Air. Now, if all 3 of those boats were inside of Miss Budweiser and he was out in lane 4 or 5, we could have a whole different story than we've seen so far today. So it'll be critical to see how they stack up lane-wise for the start.
Everybody getting revved up for that final race, and you can get your props running for this week's Alamo Almanac. Ready, set, race. Alamo will get you to the finish line with a smile. The 3rd member of our broadcast crew is Jim Hendrick.
Well, thank you very much, CJ. Evansville, Indiana. This is the 22nd annual event for the Hydros. And this Ohio River course, a lot of hydro memories. For example, let's go back to the Gold Cup of 1988. In Heat 3B, Tommy Dean, driving Miss Budweiser, flips the boat.
And he comes down and he takes off. Tommy Deep up and over, landing right on the cockpit in the Ohio River.
Fran Muncie, widow of the legendary Bill Muncie, entered 2 boats that year, Circus and the Miller. Both boats were damaged in preliminary heats. However, parts from both boats were used to put an entry into the final heat. And Chip Hanauer proceeded to win his 7th Gold Cup and 27th career win overall. Hanauer retired last year with 61 victories, 1 short of the all-time record of 62 held by the late Bill Muncie. For the Alamo Almanac, this is Jim Hendrick.
There is the Lumar window film of Jimmy King as all these boats get ready for that final race. It is coming up here in Evansville, a very fast WABX Jones racing boat. They've done well, as has the York Heating and Air. We've got an exciting final race that is coming up. Will Miss Zenetics give Miss Budweiser a run, or will Bud do it yet again? Find out in a moment.